Last topic for the discussion tonight, guys. Let's talk about the positive and the negative surprise from this team after 4 games. Put your opinion in the comments section. We want to hear from you as well on that. But let's start here, Chris. I'm going to start with you. Let's start with the negative first because I want to end on the positive. What has been a surprise about this team that has not been good or not as good as you thought it was going to be this season? What has surprised you the most?
For me, I think it's got to be the defensive ends. I thought we had defense. I really thought we were going to have three guys capable of getting double-digit sacks this year, and we haven't seen the defensive ends producing anything as far as the actual sack numbers. Now, yeah, I think they've been doing a pretty decent job as far as helping contain the run. I think they've been doing a decent job, um, keeping quarterbacks in the pocket, but they're not getting home. And I really thought that this was going to be a team that racked up possibly as many as 40 to 50 sacks as a team. I really thought 50 sacks as a team was within the range of possibility for this team. And our defensive ends just aren't getting home like they should be. So that for me is the biggest disappointment.
Aaron, the biggest disappointment on this team so far for you this year. What surprised you negatively?
It's hard to disagree with what Chris just said. We had so many high hopes for the defensive ends to do some serious damage. I had my reservations. I always have about Jack Sawyer, just because I haven't really seen anything out of him that would indicate to me like, yo, that guy's up next. He is the next Chase or Joey or any of those guys. But more than that, JTT. When you have the year that guy had last year, and it may be because of that year that he had, and Sawyer not being as good as what we thought, um, maybe JTT's getting double teamed. Maybe he's just getting taken out of the plays. I don't know. But I would be remiss if I didn't mention the offensive line as well. It's really our defensive and our offensive lines together that I would say um, are kind of the negative surprise. I knew we'd be inexperienced on the offensive line. I think we all knew that coming in, but we got a guy that was a transfer player. That has to count for something. I know that he came from San Diego State, but still, that experience has to count for something. And it's not like these are all true freshmen. They were here last season. They're getting better. They are. But when does it really become a problem? When is it going to cost us a game? If it does.
Yeah, so the chat's having a debate about the defensive line right now. So obviously that's the biggest surprise because I think maybe our expectations were too high.
Do
I'm
you
Agreed.
think part of that too is that we all bought into the one game hype from JT Tuimoloau?
that one game
He
was
had
just
a great game, or he had a
oh,
great season,
he
but
had
it was propelled by the one game.
he had the single greatest statistical game a defensive end has ever had in the history of
Yeah,
college football.
yeah,
Think about that.
absolutely. He nearly
Um,
single-handedly. I mean,
he
you can't say
did.
single-handedly, but for the most
We
part, he single-handedly had won that Penn State game last year.
we don't win if it wasn't him.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Um, maybe that plays into it a little bit. There's a question. Let me see if I can find it here that relates to this. Here we go. Is Larry Johnson the problem with the defensive line not getting pressured? I don't want to believe that because Larry Johnson has developed how many All Americans on the defensive line? A
Not
lot.
just all Americans, but guys who've went on to great pro careers and been tremendous. I mean, guys who've done great in college and the pros. I mean, you go all the way going back to Courtney Brown at Penn State.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then with that was another really good comment. Let me see if I can find that one now that I actually absolutely agree with. Let's
But as
see.
the game passing by,
I don't. I can't imagine it has.
I wouldn't want to think that, but I mean, we've talked about it with other coaches.
Yeah, I can't find it now. I
It
apologize, but The comment was Ohio State fans complain when we rotated too much on the defensive line, and now they're complaining because we're not rotating enough on the defensive line. I agree with that.
I
If
do
there was
too.
if there was a game where we didn't need to rotate it, it was last week. You want your best guys on the field all the time against the best opponents, right? Like the worst possible thing is have the game on the line and you don't have your best players in. Now, does that mean they need to rotate a little bit, maybe in the first half or in the second quarter for a series or something? Okay, maybe. But here's the thing. I don't know how much of a drop off we have on the ends from Sawyer and JTT to the next guys up and Jackson and
Curry,
Curry.
Caden Curry,
I don't
who
know
looked
how
good at
much of a
fullback
drop
last
off we
week, by the
have.
way.
Seems to me like it's a pretty big drop off because
I don't
you don't
know.
you don't see him in the games that much. Jackson,
Well,
he's done quite well, but I mean,
well, hold on. I think when Caden Curry's in there, you know it. You see it.
Yeah,
His motor's unbelievable. Like
well, shoot,
when Caden Curry's in the football game at the end of the games, he's all over the place. I would like to see him get a little bit more playing time.
might help him. I mean, that's one of those things right there, dude, that pays dividends at the end of the season. You know what I mean? Maybe it looks bad now, or not bad per se, but you get what I'm saying. It's a little rough right now, but by the time we go to play that team up north or Penn State maybe, the dude has some experience under his belt, and that's when it pays those dividends.
I like this comment right here. This is why we have the smartest listeners there is. Should we consider moving our ends around we should go back? Remember when they had the Rushman package?
yep.
Yeah.
Why isn't JT getting pushed inside for the rush? And you bring Jackson, who is an absolute beast on the outside. Okay? That's like his specialty. Kenyatta Jackson is rushing the quarterback. I would love to see them bring the Rushman package back on 3rd and long and just say, go kill the quarterback.
Why don't they stunt more? Why don't they stunt more? Why don't they do any of that? They do sometimes, but not like they used to. I'm with you 100% on that.
Jay just dropped it right when I was saying it. Slide JTT inside and put Curry in an end on passing downs. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're talking about. We got to become creative. Okay, we're 4 games in. They just went through a bye week. Maybe we're going to start to see some of that. Okay? Maybe that's a possibility that they're going to start to work towards that. Hopefully, we have a defensive coordinator and a defensive line coach who can get on the same page, and we can start to see some of that. I think that's something that Buckeye fans can wish for. Let's flip it down. Look at the offensive line real fast because we still have to answer the second part of this question before we call it a night. I'm going to push back on the offensive line. I think they're playing better than we thought they were. I thought they were going to be horrid. From what my eyeballs saw in the spring game what I saw at fall camp, I thought they were going to be terrible. I know Fryer had a bad penalty, which I still disagree with a little bit. I don't know why an offensive lineman falling on someone who he pancaked all of a sudden is a penalty now. But
because it's behind the play.
Right.
What if it was 3 yards in front of the play? It's okay now?
Yes.
The law, the rule book says that if you pancake a guy behind the quarterback, you can't fall on him.
There was a pause. There was a delay between when he hit the ground and then he went and jumped on
He's an offensive lineman. There's a delay in everything in their life, man. Come on.
Not at the buffet, my guy.
Bump, set, spike.
Yes.
Okay. I think with Fryer's move to the right tackle, that has helped that side of the line. That side of the line's playing well. Matthew Jones is playing really, really good. I think Fryer's definitely more comfortable at right tackle than he was left tackle. I think Carson Hinsman's had some moments where he's not looked good at center, but for the most part, have you seen a bad snap?
There it is.
Nope.
Yep. There you go.
He's learning just like our quarterback is. He's never done this before, okay? Donovan Jackson, I think he's getting a bad rap because he's working with a left tackle who's learning how to play left tackle, okay? And so he's taking on a lot of responsibility at left guard, trying to help what is the obvious weakness of this football team on the offensive line. But I'm not ready to give up on Simmons. He's got good feet.
Yes,
okay?
very athletic.
That's the first thing you have to have if you're going to be a left tackle is good feet. He's got that. He's athletic. Give him some more time. That position is the hardest one on the line to develop. Okay. I don't think we can scrap this at this point of the season. Okay. We've got to give them time to gel. Yes, you're right, Jay. Simmons has made a lot of penalties. I get that.
He's the most penalized player in the country last year. What do you expect?
He was, yeah. But it's still not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No.
Okay? They haven't got a quarterback killed yet. I really thought they were going to get quarterback killed. They were that bad looking. Okay, so that's that. Now let's flip it around. The positive. A lot of you have been mentioning our defensive backfield has looked great as a surprise positive for this year. Chris, what has surprised you about this team that you didn't anticipate that is good?
Well, I'll tell you, I think the defense has been great, but I kind of expected that. For me, I think it's got to be the use of the tight ends in the passing game. Stover has looked amazing in the passing game. I think he's blocked well for the most part. I think that even in limited action, G. Scott's looked good in the passing game. I think the use of the tight ends, how much we've relied on them, especially in games where Harrison's just being blanketed by however many guys, Cade Stover's been a difference maker. So for me, I'd have to say that even though we knew he was going to be good, I think the volume of work that he's getting is what's the most surprising thing.
All right, Sergeant MVP, your turn.
So I see a lot of people are saying the secondary. I agree, that is a positive, but it's not the surprise for me. I expected the secondary to play like they're playing right now. Watching these guys develop and seeing what they're capable of in flashes, I expected this. What I was not prepared for was Kyle McCord. I did not know what we were going to get. I know what he looked like against Akron, but for the love of God, it's Akron. All right.
Right.
Any of the three of us, I'll dial it back. One of us.
He had you and I taking snaps, Eric.
I did, and I apologize. Okay. I didn't expect McCord, okay? I didn't expect McCord to perform at the level he has or to progress as fast as he has. For me, his performance, his cool under pressure, under the lights at Notre Dame of all places, has been the positive surprise for me. Ball security is job security, and he has taken care of the ball.
I think a lot of you have hit on the good. The secondary, the cornerbacks have looked great. The secondary has not given up a big play this year thus far. That's been great. Those are all positives. Aaron, you brought up Kyle McCord. That's been a positive. Can I talk about Ryan Day for a minute?
No.
Come on.
Not one.
Of course you can, dude. It's Ryan Day. That's our guy. Go for it.
Dude has had to hear it from people like Chris all off season.
Damn you, Chris.
And he's going to continue to hear it until he wins those big ones.
People who want him out at this time. And I sign me up for Angry Ryan Day in every post-game interview. Sign me up for that. In fact, if we beat Maryland, I want him to be interviewed by Fox afterwards and just yell at some other old person who doubted him. Like, I just start picking random people. I don't care.
He can throw my name out there. I'm perfectly fine with it.
He just starts reaming. Whoever this Chris Wilds is, who's this guy think he is? Where's he at? I wish I could talk to him right now.
I will shove Chris in front of him. The walkthrough just.
Hey, I would run out there and jump.
We all want Angry Ryan Day. We want the guy with the chip on his shoulder, who's balls to the wall. I'm not going to hold anything back. Let's go out and let's do what we need to do. Now, maybe we haven't seen that guy in the play calling, but maybe it's because we don't. He's like, dude, if I'm that guy with the quarterback that we have right now, who's not ready for that, with the offensive line we have that's not ready for that, we're going to throw interceptions out the yin yang. So we got to tone that back. But I like the passion that I'm seeing from him. I like the anger, the chip on his shoulder. We're going to need that. We absolutely are going to need that, because I'm going to end with this. I watched that team up north absolutely embarrass Nebraska.
Yeah.
I mean, embarrass them. They took their manhood and stomped on it and then backed up and did a burnout on it. Nebraska had no answer for their running game. And when they decided to put 10 guys in the box, JJ was hitting guys left and right who were wide open. That offensive line that they have up there is scary good.
They're for real.
Their defensive line isn't too bad either.
I don't like to admit this. I wish they stunk. But they don't. And it's going to take an angry, pissed off Ohio State football team to compete with them. Okay? I also think Penn State, I don't think they're fool's gold. I don't think they're a complete team. I think that I think they have vulnerabilities, but that's a better football team than James Franklin has had since Saquon was here?
Yeah.
Probably. Yeah.
And I think that's probably the best quarterback he's ever had. So things are about to get really difficult for this football team. I just mentioned 2 of our next 8 games. We've got a road trip against Luke Fickell in Madison. I'm not as worried about that game as I was at the beginning of the year, but that team is learning. That team is developing. They're a lot like Ohio State. They kind of looked icky at the beginning of the season, and their last couple games, they have found their identity again. Okay? That's not going to be an easy game. Night game in Madison. This weekend, guys, do not sleep on this football team. If we come out flat on Saturday, which is a concern of mine coming off a bye week, this team can beat you.
Yes.
Offensively, they are very good. They present to our defense, again, for the 5th time this year, a completely different style of play than we've seen. And can we step up to the challenge once again defensively? All of that being said, I like our chances because of who our head coach is. And I haven't been able to say that every time in the past. And even this guy over here is starting to come over a little bit. That win in Notre Dame, I saw it in your face, Chris. That was in that post-game interview.
I liked Angry Ryan Day. I did like Angry Ryan Day.
That's been the positive surprise, because I thought he was trying to be a politician. And I think he came out and said, to heck with that. I'm going to be myself on national TV. And if you don't like it, I don't care, because Buckeye Nation's got my back and my players love it and I love them. And that's who I'm going to be. That's been my surprise. Let's see what we have in the chat here that we can read through real fast before we call it a day. Jay disagrees with me. We can talk about Day. We can't talk about Day until after Thanksgiving weekend. Why?
Amen, Jay.
Why?
He needs to win that one. It's the only thing I can come up with.
I'm just telling you guys straight up. It's going to be a war. It's absolutely going to be a war. Brian Lee Oberst, funny thing, that team up north says we don't get many good quarterbacks in the NFL. The only 2 they really have had is Brady and Greasy. Am I right? I think you are.
Greasy wasn't even that good. He was terrible. Tom Zach had a better career than he did.
Yeah, actually, I think you could probably go to their head coach right now. Harbaugh probably had a better NFL career.
Yeah, agreed.
Larry Daniels, Ryan, can use me after TTUN?
I have questions.
Yes.
What does that mean? Use you. What do you mean? Ryan can use me.
I think he's needed to shout at angrily.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Old-
I had
old
that's
I said he can yell at random old people every week, and Larry said he can use me.
okay. I didn't realize Larry was old. My apologies.
He's not.
Wow, Aaron, you took this
Seriously,
to
I'm
a
sorry.
very
I don't assume people's ages. I don't know these
Brian
things.
Lee Oberst, just watch the play calling will be much better and will show just how good our offense really is. Love the confidence, Brian. Love the confidence. Let's see here. Let's see. I like the way our schedule lines up where it gives our defense different challenges between now and the game where I think they'll be ready. Love it. Love it. There we
Jay.
go. Jay, this is a family show, Aaron.
Hey man, I'm not the one to put it out there, okay?
Well, you didn't understand. It's all right. You didn't understand, Aaron.
Guys,
It's
I just
okay.
work here, okay? Don't try to put all this on my shoulders.
Please like, share, subscribe. We really do appreciate it, all of you. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the show. All of you who are watching, we do appreciate that as well. Be